Thank you very much, Mr. President. Honorable members, I really would like to thank you for this very intense and open and frank debate. And I would like to start by expressing my gratitude for your overwhelming support for Ukraine and clear words on war crimes committed by Russia, so clearly expressed by Mr. Rangel, Madame Garcia Perez, Mr. Azmani, and many others. I also would like to react to the words of Madame Wautmans and Mr. Niedermayer about the importance to tackle circumvention of sanctions. I would like to reassure you that we are fully aware of this issue, and European Union sanctions envoy David O'Sullivan is working on this in close cooperation with his colleagues from US, UK on really 24/7 basis. I also would like to reassure many others, honorable members, that we will continue also to provide the support for Ukrainian refugees who received remarkable reception in our member states, and I think that it was the true expression of European solidarity, for which we have to express gratitude to all member states and to all our citizens who opened their households, who opened municipalities, who opened their schools, and provided the shelter, especially to women and children who are fleeing the horrors of war in Ukraine. Mr. Belka and several other honorable members referred to the importance of strengthening the competitiveness of our industry and deepening of the single market. And he was also highlighting the importance of external relations with China and United States and the need also in this respect to review the multi-annual financial framework. As I was indicating in my introductory remarks, we are working on that. We know that one of the priorities for the review of MFF would be to make sure that we will be able to support financially Ukraine, but of course there will be all other priorities which will be reflected in that reviews, and of course will come and presented in a great detail to this House. Of course, most of the discussion was focused on very important issues linked with migration. Mr. Angel, Mr. Schindevan, Madame Rentke, Madame Strickbin, asking very pertinent questions concerning border procedures, what kind of safeguards we are putting in place, how we want to take better care of minors, and how we want to avoid new Moria. And I would like to reassure you that the agreement of the member states to introduce the asylum procedure regulation and the mandatory border procedure comes with the purpose to quickly assess at the EU's external border whether applications are unfounded or inadmissible. The procedure is mandatory for member states if the applicant is in danger of national security or public order, he or she has misled the authorities with false information or by withholding information, and if the applicant has a nationality with a recognition rate of 20% or below. And we want to do it much faster than before, and the total duration of the asylum and return border procedure should not exceed 6 months. We are fully aware of your comments and insistence that in order to carry out the border procedures in full respect of human rights of migrants, we need to establish adequate capacity in terms of reception and human resources to examine at any given moment an unidentified number of applications to enforce the return decisions. And we are working on this, and at the union level, this adequate capacity is established at the level of 30,000. Several of you highlighted the importance of asylum procedure regulation. And I would like to reassure all of you that this proposal does not foresee the automatic use of detention. It's always used as a last resort when necessary and proportionate on the basis of individual assessment and subject to the judicial review. And especially if it comes to minors, as a rule, minors should not be detained. Again, only under very special circumstances which are very precisely described in this proposal. And if you allow me on the last point, because it was raised by honourable members, Mr. Marques, Madame Marques, Madame Rego and Madame Strick as well, and it concerns the trip of President von der Leyen, which he took together with Prime Minister Rutte and Prime Minister Meloni to Tunisia. I think we have to look at it as a true Team Europe spirit and approach. And what was proposed there was a comprehensive package to invest in stability, prosperity, but also to further support Tunisia's journey of democracy. And therefore, if you look at what was proposed to our Tunisian partners, it was not only the support for anti-smuggling operational partnership and better border management, but also investment in the economic development, macro-financial assistance, and also investment in trade, which will be done by the European Investment Bank. And we also see the opportunities to work with Tunisia in the field of energy and the improvement of peoples-to-peoples contact. So we want to approach this issue in a comprehensive manner, which we believe would have a positive impact on all other issues which we've been discussing today. So if you allow me to conclude, because my time is up, I really would like to thank you for the fervor, dynamism, in-depth knowledge of this very important issue, which is on the table of the European Union for many, many years. And I believe that this energy, this collegial spirit would allow us to proceed quickly with trilateral negotiations to make sure that all important elements of this package will be approved. And I really would like to thank you for this discussion and to thank you for all the compliments which you addressed to my colleague, Commissioner Ylva Johansson, and the Swedish presidency, and Jessika ROSWALL for indeed being able to conclude the file which was in the discussion for many, many years, because I believe it opens the opportunity for the rapid conclusion on this very important issue. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Vice President ŠEFČOVIČ, for having answered and reacted to our colleagues' questions and comments. And now the floor goes for the Council to Minister Jessika ROSWALL, please.
Thank you, President, honourable members, Vice President. I thank you for this debate and for your valuable remarks and contributions. 1.5 years ago, very few would have predicted where we would be today. The agenda of the European Council is a reflection of the new geopolitical and economic realities that Europe is facing. I'm very grateful for that the European unity and on the Ukraine policy, which once again has been clearly manifested in this debate here today. As Europeans, supporting the Ukrainians in their efforts is our biggest task and responsibility. As for the economic agenda, as many of you have underlined, we must boost Europe's long-term competitiveness and increase our productivity. To this end, the European single market is a key asset. Let me also say, on the very important topic of migration, we are heading towards peak season for arrivals along the Mediterranean routes. This will, however, put pressure on member states, and in the first 5 months this year, 2023, almost 65,000 irregular arrivals were recorded, 2.5 times more than the same period last year. This underlines the importance of the measures that the Commission and the Member States are taking, which Vice President mentioned. As several of you also have said, the recent agreement in the Council is indeed historic. This also underlines the importance of moving forward with the pact. And the Council will work hard to continue to make progress the coming week. And it's clear from this debate also that we share the same sense of urgency. And I thank the Parliament for your commitment. Given the importance of the topics on the agenda, there is no doubt that the European Council will be decisive in many respects. The preparatory work will now continue in the Council, and I will share a discussion on the draft conclusions of the General Council on June 27th. And as usual, President of the European Council will report back to the Parliament after the European Council. And just to Mr. De Vesa, who raised a question to me directly, I will say that next week, I just want to inform that next week we are having an informal meeting in the General Affairs Council in Stockholm, and we are having a discussion on policy orientation in view of the future enlargement. And I share that it's very important that we are ready for the future. With that, I would say thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much.